Well, thank you. Would you mind giving us your name, your title, and responsibilities?
Yeah, I'm Daryl Evans, and I'm Vice President of Consumer Advertising and Marketing Communications at AT&T. What that means is I manage advertising for all of the consumer products in AT&T, whether it be wireless or digital life, UVerse, and the like.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on your Effie.
We're very proud. We're very proud and very happy.
Yeah. Tell me, was there a key insight behind that campaign? It's a big idea with little kids.
Yeah, well, that was a great campaign to begin with, and the big idea behind that was, in our category, the wireless category, network perceptions are a huge driver of traffic and sales, and even loyalty, and so as a result, all the carriers advertise a lot of claims: fastest, most reliable, whatever. And the research indicates that, one, the consumers get a little tired of hearing it, they get a little confused. That's almost, we're all creating our own clutter. So the idea behind that was just some really straightforward, no nonsense wording of the claims, and the idea being it's not complicated, the most reliable. And the carrier, we didn't use the kids to actually sell, because you wouldn't want to, but kids are just naturally simple. I mean, they have simple judgments, they see things in a truthful way, and they're not afraid to say it like they see it. So that was the insight was simplicity.
Simplicity is such a powerful idea, and obviously effective one. As you think about the effectiveness, and Effie's all about effectiveness, how would you define it? How would you define marketing effectiveness?
Well, marketing effectiveness to me is, I'm pretty metric oriented. So first off, it's sales, and then movement on key brand attributes. And the brand attributes for us, we get a lot of them like anybody that measures around their brands. But I even try to link mathematically or quantitatively which metrics are most linked to sales. So again, it's sales, sales, and then
sales.
And by the way, the third most important thing is sales.
So that's good. So you've been successful in your career.
I've been blessed.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. What fuels that, you think? Is there something about you?
No, I do. Yeah, you like to think there is, but I think if there's probably the key thing is I just like what I do. I've always liked being around the creative world. I've always liked being in the advertising world, whether I was on the client side or on the agency side. And a large amount of my career was on the agency side. And I just like this business, and I like ideas. I like fun. I like to laugh, and this is an area. It's not HR and it's not finance. It's it's a lot. It's a lot different vibe, even in a company like the phone company, which, quite honestly, I never dreamed I would work at the phone company. But it's the greatest gig on the planet.
Is there anything you can point to that prepared you for the role you're in now?
Well, I'm a good Tar Heel, so I went to the University of North Carolina.
Me too.
And I got a good MBA, and I went to work. My first jobs were on the client side, so I was in the package goods business with Quaker Oats. That's where I also learned that I actually had more fun with the agency guys than I did on the company itself. So probably one of the other fundamental things that worked for me was a package goods grounding for the first 3 or 4 years before going out into the other.
What does winning an Effie mean, both to you and the team behind it?
Well, sometimes that's called the Account Guys Award or the Clients Award. The thing about an Effie is you have to have results with it. So, and awards are great, and agencies like awards, and the clients that work in the ad departments love awards, and we'll take every award we get. But an Effie Award has real results attached to it. So an Effie Award gets a lot of respect internally. The people that I work for and work with, their eyebrows will go up when you win an Effie. So because it's not just a creative award, and it's a powerful award. It means what you did worked.
Well, congratulations again.
Well, we're happy. We're very proud.
With the campaign, you got a great agency partner. Tell me about that.
Well, we have a great agency partner in BBDO, and it's their campaign. One thing I'd like, in addition to just a shout out and congratulations for the Effie that they're winning on this, is I just want to know that they are the only partner that since Singular Wireless and beyond that we've ever had, or the consistent partner that we've had since Singular Wireless was formed. When Singular Wireless was formed in 2001, they won the pitch, and they have been the agency ever since. They are, and in my career, which is long, it is the deepest and best partnership with an agency I've ever experienced. We have a phrase inside that BBDO is inside the firewall. And that doesn't happen lightly at AT&T. They literally are inside the firewall. They see a lot of information that other partners never get to see. They have hall pass, it's unlimited. Their badges work, so it is a deep partnership, and one that we treasure a lot. The campaign the kids campaign that they're winning the Effie on tonight is interesting because not only is it a creative concept, and the writers probably wouldn't want me saying this, but nothing that was on air was ever scripted. As you can imagine, when you put all those little 6-year-olds around a table, you give them talking points, but they come up with better things on their own, and so that was part of the pixie dust of the campaign, was just the unbelievable lines these kids could come up with, and a very talented guy moderating, Beck Bennett. So a deep and a rewarding and partnership with BBDO, and then this campaign in particular, which by the way is one of many that have been wonderful for us and imagined by BBDO. They deserve a big shout out for.
Are there any tips you offer younger marketers trying to come up through the ranks, or suggestions?
Well, I think you have to be open to ideas. I mean, some of this is, maybe trite, but the reason things are trite is because they're true. You have to be open to ideas. I think a sense of humor is a big thing. If you don't laugh, humor to me is a management tool. And if you're not having fun, don't take everything so seriously. I mean, it's not like it's your children. In our area, it's cell phones. And they're awfully important, but they're just cell phones. So, I get asked that question a fair amount, and I don't think I have anything that's super specific or super insightful, but just have fun and don't be afraid to be a little irreverent. I've carved out a little bit of a mad professor, I guess, ish. And this, if I'm using those words, I'm butchering those words, but I think the key thing is just keep a sense of humor and some irreverence.
Nice.
Don't take your business or anything all that seriously. The world's not going to stop spinning.
Good. So AT&T is a magnificent brand.
It's a big brand.
It is a big brand. If we step back from AT&T, though, and we talk about things that you like, are there any brands that you're fascinated by?
I like one brand. We were talking about it earlier. One brand I like a lot is Uber, and I think Uber has not only from the business model standpoint, really, or is in the midst of turning the taxi business on its head. But I like everything. I like the way they handle me over the phone screen. Simple language. They round down. I feel like I'm the center of their universe, and so that's something I like. I like Uber a lot. I think everybody likes Nike. It's hard not to like. Those guys. Have a knack for understanding kind of the zeitgeist and what's going on. I'm a big admirer of the Coca-Cola Company. I spent a lot of my
neighbors down there,
career on the agency side working on the Coke business, and I when you look at the totality of their work around the world, it's it's hard to beat, and it's hard to beat what that brand stands for. I mean, I haven't seen the latest numbers, but I believe the only word more recognized in the world than Coca-Cola is the word "okay," and
that says a lot.
Yeah, that says a lot.
What's the biggest marketing trend or opportunity today for marketers?
I think it's analytics and data. There's so much that we know now that we didn't know even 5 years ago, or information we can get our hands on that we couldn't get our hands on 5 years ago. I think and maybe another way to say that is increasing the percentage of the marketing pie, so to speak, that is science versus intuition. In the advertising world and all that, we'll never get to where you bat 1,000. You're dealing in psychology, you're dealing in persuasion, so you're never going to get to the point where it's 100% science. In the simplest form, an ad is just a little sales call. If we could afford to have salespeople call on every home in America, we would do that, but we can't. So we send little 30-second sales calls into their house, or we send sales calls in the form of a banner ad and so forth. But if they were salesmen, even the most successful salesman in the world doesn't make a sale 100% of the time. So we're never going to get to 100%, or we're never going to bat 1,000. But if we can increase the amount of science, and we can go from batting 600 to 700, or go to batting 750, that's a big deal, and that's a big ROI. The technology around the data, like addressable television, which is actually going to, I believe there's 60 million homes roughly now that could handle some form of addressable television. And if you just think about the targeting implications out on the web and online, I think the amount of science that's in the marketing pie or in the marketing algorithm is where the opportunity is, and I think that's a big trend right now.
You're a marketing veteran.
Embarrassingly so. Yeah.
You've seen a lot probably over your career. Mm-hmm. What have you seen? How is it different from when you started to today?
Well, I've made it, and I've actually made a couple presentations at UNC on this, and this may not be exactly what you're asking, but the topic of the presentation is how do big brands see the future, and how has things changed and so forth. And I said there's two things that haven't changed and one that will. The first thing that probably isn't changing is the power of sight, sound, and video. Sight, and sound, and movement. So video isn't going anywhere, but probably what's changing within that first item is I think we have to teach ourselves to say TV = video. So that's one. Secondly, and this hasn't changed since Greek theater, is the role of good storytelling. You're not going to, I don't think anything's going to change, and hasn't changed since I got in the business, that can replace just simply good storytelling. What is changing very rapidly is the platforms that all this stuff runs on. So when I first came in the business, television, it was the giant. You could, the average, they'd cancel a show if it didn't have a 20 rating. So this gigantic hearth that everybody gathered around, and you could create awareness in a matter of a few days if you really wanted to. That has changed dramatically. Now a good show on television, or the average television show, has about a 1.7 household rating. And yet in the fragmented media world that we have now, that remains the largest hearth. But it pales in comparison to the old days. And that's a good thing. We have more media choices, we have whatever, but the platforms and the like that messages run on have multiplied and fragmented dramatically, and they're just going to keep doing that. And video itself is going to run on different platforms. I don't know what TV is going to look like in 4 or 5 years, with over the top, and all of that's coming along. So I think, in addition to the analytics that we just talked about and the data, it's the platforms that the messages are delivered on. You're still going to have good storytelling. It's probably going to be video based, but heaven knows. I watch a lot of things on iPads. I watch a lot of things on the phone. I watch regular TV as well. I'm not one of those people that says I don't watch TV. And then 5 minutes later, I know I'm looking off camera, but 5 minutes later they're telling you about an ad they don't like.
Right.
So, but I don't know if that's the question that you're getting to, but
I think so.
I think it's evolved a lot, and I think it's going to continue to evolve.
Yeah. So you've talked a little bit about platforms exploding, and as it relates to that, the marketing mix, right? TV, growing digital, I'm sure, especially in your business. There's been a lot of people speculating or hypothesizing, and I don't know how I feel about it, so I want to know how you feel about it. That we're all going to be digital marketers one day, and really that's...
Well, we probably are. I was having a conversation with our media agency yesterday, and I was asking a similar question, and the answer I got back was, well, all TV's digital anyway, so everything's digital. So that's the oversimplified answer. Yeah, everything's going digital, at least in the technology that delivers it to you. I think we're going to increasingly move towards what the traditional digital definition is. A lot more things online and in the social space and so forth. I know our media budgets have shifted pretty dramatically over the last few years. Not so much reducing television, but reducing other media forms and plowing that money into digital. We're not doing as much print as we used to do. We're not doing as much radio as we used to do. So we're kind of coalescing around television and the digital world. And we still spend a fair amount of money in those other media, but if you were to look at the trends over the last few years, I would imagine, and we're doing a lot of things right now to kind of set the models aside for a minute and look at the changing media landscape. What's going to go on and what should we be planning in the future as to how we're going to allocate our media dollars. We haven't gotten the results of the big thing we're doing now, but I'd be surprised if there's not an even bigger shift into the digital world. Great.
So as you think about mix and ROI as it relates to it, you're keeping TV, which I think is interesting. What is it about TV and its return?
Well, it still works. When we measure our ROIs, and I said, effective marketing is sales. When we make too big a move in television, we see a negative effect in sales. So it continues to work, even with all the delayed viewing, even with all the, all the things going on with television, people watching it when they want and so forth. And so that's one. We keep using it because it keeps working. Secondly, if you think about our business, we sell to everybody that's breathing. So we don't walk in every morning. And this is both a curse and a blessing. The blessing is everybody is a target customer at some level or another. The curse is everybody is part of the target. So classic segmentation is hard for us. We have segments in the business, but we don't walk in the door every day with a natural target, like if you're in the makeup business or the cosmetics business or something, where you've automatically got some segments and they're just some parts of the market that you're never going to market to. So classic segmentation for us, if we break the market up too finely, then we lose the marketing scale. And it's hard for us to operationalize it because I can't shoot 14 different TV spots for every, to address each segment. So broadcast, which is just the word for casting broadly, is an effective medium for us because we're talking to so many people. So we get comparatively little waste in television as opposed to, I'm just making something up, Revlon or something, which might have a tougher time targeting exactly what they want in something that casts a little as broadly as the medium called television.
So you brought up segmentation, so I'm going to take us down a little aside, if you will. How important is research?
Huge. We have the luxury of good marketing budgets, and so we spend a lot on research. We spend a lot on both qualitative research and quantitative research. It's a fast-moving business. So our business is more retail than people realize. We need traffic and door swings or a door swing, whether it's on the website or in brick and mortar So we move really rapidly. The industry is pretty competitive at the retail level, and so we need a lot of research. We need to have a lot of research in the bank, so to speak, so that we kind of know what to do on the next, because we're moving so quickly. We oftentimes don't have time to go do the classic pre-research and things, because we're rolling so many products out so fast, or we're having to change pricing, or we're having to change, this last 6 months or so in our business is, it's completely walking away from the postpaid 2-year contract model. Right. So we have to have a lot of research in the bank, so to speak, to guide us in best practices. And but we try to measure everything ahead of time. We measure everything on a post basis.
Are there any gaps that you can think of in the research methodologies today? You're left scratching your head?
Well, that's a hard question to answer, because I just have a fundamental belief that you're never going to bat 1,000. So I'm not sure there's a research technique out there that will enable you to bat 1,000. So by definition, there's probably a gap in terms of perfect prediction of what things will do, or what will work, or what's the most persuasive, and will result in that 100% of the time you talk to people, you get a sale out of it. That may be dodging your question a little bit, but
it's fair enough.
We research everything we can find to research, but I think the opportunity now is in targeting.
What do you mean?
I'm kind of going down another rabbit trail on you, but okay. With the availability of the data and the analytics that we have, we're going to be able to target way better, which is probably going to make a liar out of me on what I just said about the broad, hard to segment. Mm-hmm. Now, we may, because of abilities to target a little better as we move forward in the future, or more precisely, we may actually carve out a couple of, we may kind of break our market up into some big consumer segments, and do separate media planning and separate creative production against those. We won't do 14 because it just doesn't scale for us. But we could do 2 or 3, and if we can really target and the increased production cost and the increase, if we're not blanketing one media plan, is outweighed by the ROI for more precise targeting and being able to say the most relevant message to certain segments of the population, and then we'll do that. But that's one of the things we're looking at is, always got to be innovating, always have to be changing, always have to be looking, at what could we do different to grow the business.
So stepping back from your role now, AT&T, think back, if you were to do it all over again, would you change?
I wouldn't change much. I wouldn't change much. There might be, and I'm not going to mention them, there might be a couple of companies I would have avoided, just because, not because, I've always worked for great companies, but there's a couple of them where the chemistry wasn't all that great. But I wouldn't do a lot. I think, there's a lot of smart people out there. I've ended up in a wonderful gig. So, if I changed anyone, or the old, if I'd gotten on the subway or not gotten on the subway, how would life have changed? Right. So I'm pretty happy where I'm at. So I don't think I changed a lot in the path that got me here.
Well, Daryl, I appreciate you taking the time, and thank you very much.
It's good seeing you.